Hello, everybody. I'm starting by presenting me because not everybody knows me here. And I'm a kind of a weird guy because I'm not really related to Alfresco. Well, I used to be Alfresco consultant 5 years ago and suddenly dropped the Alfresco world to develop, to be a hacker on OpenOffice at that time and LibreOffice after. So I'm in an interesting position where I am at the edge of both ECM and Office Suite world. So which brings me to the topic today is how to connect Alfresco and LibreOffice together using CMIS. So I'll show you that presentation will be in 3 parts. First, I will give you an introduction on LibreOffice for those who don't already know it. Then I will show you more about how it can access Alfresco documents using CMIS. And then I will tell you a bit about the tiny details that may benefit you. But the main problem, I think we heard it already quite a lot in the keynote. Cloud is one of the main words, one of the main trends for the future. And it's already there. So people are storing the documents in clouds, are storing the document in ECMs, and it's good. But the fact is that Office Suite is still an important part of software in the enterprise. So most of the users are still using that. So we want the user to access his documents that are in the cloud really transparently, whether just with his normal Office Suite. So I won't detail about competitive Office Suites, and I will only present the one I know. So about LibreOffice, let's do a quick poll. Who already heard about it before this session? Oh, it's pretty good. And who's using it? Even at work? Oh, it's great. So, good. Good rate. So for most of you, this first part will be not so interesting because you may not learn that much. But who knows? So LibreOffice is an application of containing several modules, including a writer processor, text processor, a spreadsheet, presentation tool that is running here, a drawing tool. You also have the database access tools. You have a charting module. You have formula modules. And you also have a basic scripting module. So you can do some hacks on your documents just with that. So it's a pretty complete thing and well used. So where does it come from? Actually, the story begins in 1985. So it's pretty far away from here. And it started with Star Writer, which was the really first thing. And it was developed into a complete Office suite later that is called Star Office, that was proprietary until 2000. So at that time, Sun Microsystems acquired the Star division that was producing Star Office, and they released the source code in 2000. At that time, we had OpenOffice. So OpenOffice was handled mostly produced by Sun Microsystems and later by Oracle. And it didn't give entire satisfactions to the community that was around OpenOffice, developing it and translating it and QAing it and everything. So in 2010, a few people created a fork of OpenOffice.org that was called LibreOffice. We had to change the name because we didn't have the trademark. Oracle was still having it. And really soon after the fork has been created, a mass of the contributors of OpenOffice that were not Oracle employees went to LibreOffice, which gives us a really, really active community. I just put in that slide a whole bunch of names and logos because they're just members of the board of the advisory board of Document Foundation. So these are all companies or entities that are either providing money or developers to Document Foundation and LibreOffice project. So we can see some famous names here, and as a French one, I'm pretty proud of French government to take part of that adventure. So it's pretty great. So who is creating it in the end? So this trend is just figures extracted by Olo on the LibreOffice project. So it's just a Git repository from LibreOffice. You see that we have something like 70 contributors per month, 70 unique contributors per month, which is amazing. These are only code contributors. Some will come and provide one patch one day and will never come back. But that means that we have others that are coming regularly. And this is not including code that we are shipping as external libraries because we just want to share it with other projects. So CMIS, most of the CMIS work is not shown here. Just an indication. And around that also, we need not to forget all the translators providing LibreOffice in several languages, in loads of languages, the testers and documentation team, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some of these guys. LibreOffice is also about people. So you see here meeting some of them meeting in Milan this year for LibreOffice conferences. So it's just like a nice family where everyone can talk together. And just now, I want to show you some of the key features from LibreOffice. Of course, this is my point of view, maybe not yours. So one of the key features I want to present you is the CMIS integration. Of course, it's mine, so I want to present it to you. Another one, really interesting one, is Android remote controls. An iOS remote controls that has been created recently. This is just allowing you to use your smartphone to control your presentation. So you'll say, why aren't you using it? The answer is pretty simple. I don't have any smartphone. So you see here, so the Android is already out for a few months already, because it was out for 4.0. And the iOS one has just been developed this summer by a Google Summer of Code student. So it's going to be out soon, but is not yet. And, well, this is one of the major features of LibreOffice. So it's all about compatibility. So LibreOffice can read most of file formats around here. I've put various logos here just to show you how diverse there are. And one guy reviewing my slide told me, why did you put several versions, logos of Microsoft Office documents? Well, because we can just read them all and write them all. So we can write Word, Excel, PowerPoint files. no problem. Any version, almost. Some are less good than others. We can also have WordPerfect. We can have Corel, Publisher, Visio. The interesting note about Visio is that LibreOffice was supporting Visio 2013 file format, even before Microsoft published it. So it's a nice piece of reverse engineering. So it's great. And, well, I didn't put logos for all of the formats supported, but we also had legacy Mac formats, Mac text processing formats, like Word for Mac 5.1 or Right Now 4.0 or whatever. And they're just supported there. So we need to pay attention here because, for example, Visio or Corel Publisher on read-only support, but others are also write support. I think it's a pretty important feature there. So, CMIS in LibreOffice. Of course, we are in the cloud era, and we have our Office suite, and we want to get documents from there. So it's important for them to talk together. And I will first start with history about that CMIS integration, because it didn't happen just like this. I started that when I was consultant on Alfresco as star expert. So it was something like 5 years ago. And at that time, CMIS was not existing even. So I created that with web scripts. So I had a whole collection of web scripts that was deployed on the server side, and then an extension, a Java extension on the OpenOffice side that was deployed just to make them talk together. The limitation there is that I couldn't reuse the native file picker that is in OpenOffice, that was in OpenOffice at the time. So I had to write my own in Java as a new Java dialog and so on. So it was quite a pain. And we had to deploy things on both server and client and so on. It's not so interesting. And of course, it was not standard. So I left the Alfresco world after that. That extension called Opal is still existing somehow. It should be open source, but this recent code it maybe not be updated because the code is 2 years old or something. But yeah, you can find it on the forge if really you want to get it. So a while after, when I was a LibreOffice developer, the discussion about connecting Alfresco and LibreOffice together came out again. And I had a discussion with Jeff Potts, and we came to agree that the CMIS was the way to go, because at that time it was just published. So, okay. And I let time pass by because I didn't have time to work on that at that time. And some guy came to me, Dan Corneanu, from Romania, and he told me, I'm working on that project on CMIS integration as a Java extension. So he was working on the low levels of LibreOffice text, but as an extension still. So he tried, he worked on that. I brought him some advice when needed and so on. And at the end, he just gave up. And he told me, well, it's quite a pain to write because there are loads of C++ helpers in LibreOffice code that I can't use because I'm just in the Java extension part. So it's really a pain. It was really a pain for him to get that developed. That code is still open source. It's still published on Gitorius, and I can give you the link if you need. And, well, it stopped here because it was just not possible to continue. The good thing is that at SUSE, where I'm working, we have, every 6 months, we have what we call a hack week. A hack week is 1 week our employer is giving us to work on anything we want. So that was a good occasion to start working on on CMIS and LibreOffice. So in 1 week, I got document reading support, which is pretty interesting and motivating. And this started the CMIS core feature of LibreOffice, and then after I could convince my boss to let me work on that a bit more to get it right and every other things. So, what are the advantages of that new approach? So, nothing to install. Not on server, not on the LibreOffice side. It can work with any CMIS server. And in fact, we also managed to force Google Drive protocol into the CMIS client library to make it as if it was talking CMIS. So we can even extend that thing to other protocols if needed. And we can use LibreOffice UI code just to provide the same UI look and feel than the rest of LibreOffice. So it's pretty interesting. Before going to UI and how it works for the user and so on, I want to show you how it really happens slightly, because I don't want to dive too much into the code. LibreOffice has something that is called UCB, which is Universal Content Broker. That thing is a component that will get all file opening requests, file opening, saving, all requests. It will get a URL as input and will do the job on that thing. And based on the URL scheme, it will dispatch the command to a provider. So you have providers for local files, you have for Samba files, for HTTP, for dev, FTP, etc. So what I did is just add a CMIS provider. It's pretty easy. It's not a whole lot of code. And that thing would need to have CMIS features. So it needs to talk CMIS. And it needs to be C++. So I had to create a new library for that. So this way, LibreOffice can use that goodness, but others too. And then libcmis is talking to the server. The thing that is interesting me here is the URL-based thing, because we can't do anything without these URLs. And it's true for LibreOffice file pickers, but it's true also for GNOME VFS, and I'm sure it's true for KIO slaves and Internet Explorer and all of these. So what I did is just have some weird scheme, just because it's not standardized yet. And the CMIS encoding, the CMIS binding URL is URL encoded here as the host in the URL. And then we can have the repository ID to say, I'm selecting that repository, and then we can have a path to the object we want to address, or an object ID, because the CMIS repository may be handling unfiled object. So if someone can help me to get these somehow standardized, that would be really great. So let's go a bit more into the UI. The connection here is designed to be easy. So you see here the LibreOffice native file picker. It only works with that file picker that is not enabled by default, just because it's the only code I have in LibreOffice to handle that. So to get it working with the native file pickers, we need to implement that thing on GNOME, KDE, Windows, macOS, etc. Which is quite some other work. So here you can just see you can add a new place. We'll see a bit later in the demo, but I'm selecting here a new type of connection. In fact, that tailor changed a bit since the screenshot. So this was the initial one. And so I can just say, this is CMIS URL, a CMIS repository, and this is the binding URL, and I'm connecting to that. We can also check out. The good thing is that we don't want to impose any workflow to the user. So some people told me, well, why aren't you checking out the document automatically when opening it? Just because people may not want to. And it's not me, LibreOffice developer, to decide what the users need to do. So when a document is open and is not checked out on the server, the only thing I can provide is some bar here to say, just warning, this document is not checked out. So then the user can check it out either from here or from the file menu. Of course, there is the UI, some UI for the check-in and other things like this one. Some good things that are just coming here that have been developed this summer by a Google Summer of Code student. Another one is showing CMIS properties. And it's not only showing them, you can edit them. It's pretty interesting. There's still some work to be done, so I'm still working on libcmis these days. Because Alfresco properties are inside aspects, and aspects, at least in 1.0, are not provided as properties like this in Alfresco, in the CMIS XML file. It's just in an extension, in the extension part. So I need to fetch these somehow, and it's still some work. So here we have only the core CMIS feature for the while, the core CMIS properties for the while, but it's not going to last long. And with CMIS 1.1, it will be even better. We also have some version history from the CMIS here. That dialog is also brand new. It's just from the summer. And it still needs some love. So it still needs some work to be done because it's not optimized and so on. So I wanted to show you a bit more about libcmis and what it does. So first, why? Why libcmis? Just because there was no C, C++ library, and I needed it. Just because in LibreOffice we want to get rid of the Java dependency, and I don't want to introduce one more Java dependency if we're getting rid of it. So we need C, C++. And it's a good thing for the CMIS ecosystem to have a C, C++ library anyway. Having it as a library makes it reusable. So it's good for LibreOffice, but it's good for you as well, maybe. I've seen that most of the people in Alfresco world are Java developers, but who knows, there may be one C, C++ developer here. So great. And it's rather easier to work on a separate library when you're a newcomer than working on the whole LibreOffice code. So for the Google Summer of Code student, for example, it was easier for him to get started with just a simple library than getting with the whole code of LibreOffice. I don't have the line code numbers in mind, but it's pretty impressive. So why would you care about that? libcmis is good because it's used by several projects. So LibreOffice project is already quite well in good state, usable and so on. I'm working on a GVFS binding, a GVFS backend, so to provide CMIS documents to your GNOME applications. And some guy from Red Hat is starting to help me also, so it's pretty good. And libcmis comes with a command line tool that is called CMIS client. And this one is really interesting because it helps me test. But it can also help you script your document with just shell scripts. So you can just get the properties or modify the document, check in, check out, whatever, just with a shell script. It's pretty easy. And I saw some projects about scripting Alfresco with shell scripts. And this one can also help, can also be a solution. And of course, your application can be here, or here, or here, or any other support for other native file pickers. So I couldn't leave you without knowing all these goodness. So let's go for a small demonstration, and I think I was a bit too quick. It's annoying because I'm speaking too fast when I'm just in front of you. So let's go. This is on the next 4.2 version. So file open. And here you see the small button just to open and create a new place. So I will create a new CMIS place. This CMIS. So you see the difference here. So I just select a server type, and it will fill here a pattern URL. So that pattern URL, the user only has to change it a bit, and that's all. Then I'm connecting to get the list of repositories. This is kind of a bug because you shouldn't be, well, no, the bug is not here. It's annoying to be able to get the repositories just by connecting. And then I'm navigating through the server to get my document. There it is. It's not checked out. You can see the bar here. And I will do it from the file menu. Just file check out. Let's do some changes here. Well, some really easy to spot ones, just to make it shiny and so on. And now we will just check in the document. So in file, you see we have cancel checkout and we have check in. And then we can just put a command, check that box if we want a new major version, click OK, and that's it. So now we will just check the properties. So it's just in file properties, like all other properties of the document in LibreOffice. It's just a new tab here, and you'll see them all here. So the dialog is maybe not optimized here and needs some more love, but most of the feature is here. We'll see the versions here as well. It's just a button here, but it should be improved to be another tab or something. And here you can see the versions, all your versions. The thing that is still missing, for example, is showing the version number, but it's just, well, maybe not 5 minutes hack, but let's say an hour. And there's some button here that delete that shouldn't be there, or some things that needs to be improved. But the feature is here. And the good thing is that you will be able to compare versions, for example, in the future, because LibreOffice knows how to compare two documents. So you can compare two documents this way, which is pretty interesting. You can show the new one of the old versions just using this way. It's also pretty interesting. And something that is not shown in the demonstration, of course, is that the list of repositories. Here I had to add a new repository myself to show you the feature. But enterprise users don't want to add new repositories because they may not know what this is. And this is entirely configurable just in XML files in the LibreOffice installation. So it's pretty easy. You just need to change that, and it can be done by the IT when deploying LibreOffice, and that's it. So it's really made to be easy. So I'm sorry too much in advance. So we can have quite a lot of time for your questions. And really, if you have some, don't hesitate, shoot. They need some microphone. I think there's need for microphone for the recording. That is a question here.
Boo? Oh. So is there any support for single sign-on if you do an enterprise rollout with pre-configured repositories? Is there some single sign-on support?
Well, at the moment, no.
Okay.
I don't know how that could work, but...
Well, usually in a Windows environment, there would be like a Kerberos integration. You couldn't grab that ticket from within LibreOffice and have that passed along to Alfresco, which supports it. So it could be worth looking into. I know it's a big question on everybody's mind in terms of enterprise rollout.
I'm not an expert in that area, so
okay.
If you want to help me join and help that thing improve, it's more than welcomed. And I think there was another question here.
I kind of missed a little bit quite at the start how you could apply this, because it's fantastic for OpenOffice, I think. Also the integration with properties, the capability of comparing things. But today the larger base of Alfresco users still has Microsoft Office. Would you be able to have a similar setup and then the power of CMIS as an integration layer, because you did it in C or in C++? So it's portable, but is there any way to hook into Microsoft Office to get something similar as elegant?
Well, I'm pretty sure it could be possible, but I'm not a Microsoft Office developer, and I don't know how to do that. So that would mean just do the same thing again, just using libcmis. Libcmis is here so sharing the feature. The low-level CMIS talking feature is easy, but it needs to change Microsoft Office as well. And sadly, I don't know how to do that. And well, that's not my goal. So if you really want to do it, it's possible, but you need to have some Microsoft Office development knowledge to do that.
Yeah, but it's very elegant. I think the way how you do it, it's pretty seamless, and it allows to have more governance from your OpenOffice environment.
Well, LibreOffice.
Well,
OpenOffice is something else.
Don't get religious about it.
Well, you can try downloading OpenOffice. You won't have it. You just won't have it.
First of all, thank you for the amazing work. In which version this CMIS integration is available? 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, future version?
So, it started all with 3.6, and it was an experimental feature at that time, just because it was still not showable to the users. It was not easy. You saw the screenshot for adding a new place. That comes from 3.6. And it really arrived in 4.0. So once you have it in 4.0, you have it forever. And the new version and properties dialogues will come in 4.2. And in 4.2, there will also be some interesting bug fix there. Because Marcus here just reported an interesting bug about SSL connections, HTTPS connections with bad SSL certificates. So libcmis under the hood is using libcurl to do the job, and libcurl by default is rejecting every non-valid SSL connections, SSL certificate, which is understandable. So I improved libcmis to use the curl features to at least show an error and say, hey, the certificate is not valid, and you need to approve it and then to get the request done. So this is coming also in 4.2. So I still have some little work to do to get it really done. But this is some other things that are really interesting. And in 4.2, or maybe before, we also have some support for proxy configuration. So you can configure the proxy, and libcmis will use that to connect to CMIS, which was not possible in the early versions.
So it means that the connector to CMIS server does not use the network interface that is in the system in terms of proxy configuration, Kerberos, authentication, and so on.
Well, LibreOffice comes with its own things in that area, and we try to get from the system, but I'll just show you here it's just a matter, well, I need to push my screen here so that you can show it, you can see it. In the options, it's just a matter of configuration there. Oh, sorry. The dialog appeared on my screen. So in internet, proxy here, you can choose how to proxy here. And you can define proxy settings directly on LibreOffice, but you can also tell it just to use the system settings. And this is now supported, which wasn't the case before. But for Kerberos and authentication, it's kind of different.
Thank you.
Any other question? So it's good to have questions to raise the things I've forgotten.
Are you working together with a company called Red Pill Linpro, working on an edit online feature for LibreOffice and CMIS?
Well, for the edit online, I have no knowledge on that.
Okay, but you are aware of the project, or is it the first you hear of it?
Oh no, it's the first time I hear about that. But
Okay.
it's pretty good to know it, and I don't know how it's implemented. But
Well, I've looked into it briefly, but it turns out it's I'm not quite sure about the details. You install some web scripts on Alfresco, and you have like a Java applet helping you open up LibreOffice and an opening connection directly via CMIS. So it's quite interesting to see. I was just wondering if you are talking to them about making that integration cool as possible.
well, Red Pill Linpro is reporting bugs, so that may be due to that.
Okay.
Hi. So just to respond to your question, if you have any questions regarding that module, you can come to the lightning talks tomorrow, or just find me in the hall and give some questions, and I'll try to respond to them if I can.
So just a word about that. I used to be paid to work on that thing, but since a month or a bit more, I changed job, so it's just a hobby, so it will progress a little bit slower by now. So if you really want to have some new feature or bug fix or whatever in quick and now, there are quite a lot of companies in the LibreOffice ecosystem that can provide service for this kind of thing. So even though I'm the CMIS guy in the LibreOffice world, they can still reach me and ask me some questions if needed. But yeah, I will be in a pretty complex position to provide support for that if needed. Any other questions?
Have you done any connection between this client and the Alfresco Cloud CMIS interface?
Oh, yeah. I had that question in mind and I just skipped it. So on the libcmis side, everything is ready to connect to Alfresco in the cloud. But I need to make sure everything is working from the LibreOffice side, which I'm not sure. But shouldn't be too complex to get it working. So most of the big problem there was the OAuth2 authentication handling and so on. And this is sorted out. So it's not a problem anymore. So Forward 2 will be able to connect to Alfresco in the cloud. So thank you all for your attentions. And if you have some more precise question, technical one, or anything else, just come and see me just after. And I think we still have some time before the next conference, so don't hesitate to come and ask. And of course, you have some nice cards, LibreOffice cards to pick there and just get or distribute if you want to spread the word of LibreOffice goodness. Thank you all.